You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WLCX Daily News Roundup for the Eagle 1490 AM in La Crosse.
For 1490 WLCX, I'm Jimmy Kuska. A proposed fee increase could affect La Crosse property owners in a little over a month from now. The stormwater utility is proposing an increase of nearly $10 per month to help pay for operating costs and capital projects. A second proposal would then add a 22% fee increase for January 1st and annual 3% increases to account for inflation for the 3 years after that. The proposals will be considered by the Finance and Personnel Committee at its June 5th meeting. If they pass, they would go to the Common Council the week after. In La Crosse City Government, the City Administrator Work Group meets, as well as the Economic and Community Development Commission, which will consider a resolution with developers for affordable housing on the corner of Main Street and 10th Street North. On Friday, the Commercial and Multifamily Design Review Committee will go over plans for both of the La Crosse School District's capital projects for adding on to the State Road Elementary School and the new elementary school at the Hogan Administrative Site. There's no estimated reopening date set for the Blackhawk Bridge connecting Wisconsin to Iowa. The Iowa DOT said last week that they confirmed one of the bridge's piers moved, creating a safety issue. The 94-year-old bridge has been closed since May 17th and was also closed for nearly 2 months last year for emergency repairs. People are being reminded to not go around the barricades on the closed bridge. The closest river crossings are in La Crosse or Prairie du Chien. A new bridge is under construction and expected to open in 2027. The budget bill currently being considered in Congress would change the number of people receiving SNAP benefits. With more, here's Civic Media's Joanne Krulotz.
Wisconsin Medicaid Director Bill Hanna says those enrolled in the program are already living on the margin, and small dollar changes will force them to make very difficult life choices between choosing health care or choosing food. Hanna says the cuts would cost Wisconsin approximately $314 million every year and put 90,000 state residents at risk of losing SNAP benefits.
Changes to Medicaid and Medicare, environmental permits, and other items are also in the bill passed by the U.S. House. Gas prices are up slightly since last week. With more, here's Civic Media's Melissa Kay.
Average gas prices in Wisconsin rose slightly over the last week, landing at an average of $3.02 today. This is 4.4 cents higher than a month ago and over 38 cents per gallon lower than this time last year. Gas prices across the state range from $2.59 to $3.49 per gallon, a difference of 90 cents. Prices didn't fall as far as anticipated for Memorial Day, but officials at Gas Buddy say it was still one of the most affordable since 2021. They expect to see a relatively stable stretch for gas prices as we head into summer.
Here in La Crosse, gas prices are staying just below the statewide average, currently at about $3 per gallon. The budget bill currently being considered in Congress would change environmental permitting for Wisconsin and other states. Large projects under the National Environmental Policy Act could pay a fee to streamline the process and also shield projects from litigation related to the NEPA. Thomas Hawkman from the Foundation for American Innovation said that the reforms may also make projects subject to political pressure.
If you let each administration determine what the cost is and also spend time determining what the cost should be, you could potentially see differences in treatment. So, maybe a Republican administration drags their feet and puts out a really high cost for a wind project that's going through an environmental impact statement. And maybe a Democratic administration does the same for a pipeline that's going through environmental impact statement.
Projects could still face lawsuits under other environmental laws such as the Clean Air and Clean Water Acts. Wisconsin home sales are down over the past 2 months. With more, here's Civic Media's Joanne Krulotz.
The Wisconsin Realtors Association released its April report, revealing home sales experienced a significant downturn for the second consecutive month, falling 10.4% compared to April 2024, even as the median price climbed during the same period. Despite this monthly decline, year-to-date sales were down by a more moderate 3.5% compared to the first 4 months of 2024, buoyed by strong sales in January and February. Statewide, housing inventory saw a slight improvement, increasing 5.9% to a 3.6-month supply in April, yet this figure remains considerably below the 6-month supply, indicative of a balanced market.
Home inventories have remained close to the statewide average here in the Cooley region. Wisconsin Republicans are proposing expanding early voting access. With more, here's Civic Media's Joanne Krulotz.
The Republican-sponsored bill would address inequalities between voting in urban and rural areas, providing a 20-hour minimum for in-person absentee voting without needing to make an appointment. The measure would also establish a funding mechanism to help municipalities meet minimum hour requirements. Proponents say adding more opportunity for early voting will help minimize congestion and possible errors on Election Day.
It's bear season, according to the Wisconsin DNR. With more, here's Civic Media's Melissa Kay.
Black bears are actively searching for easy food sources as they come out of hibernation. Stay bear aware and secure your garbage, compost, and pet food indoors. You can either take down bird feeders or hang them up high where the bears can't get to them. Make sure your outdoor grills are clean or store them inside. Don't leave food or coolers in your vehicles and never approach a bear. If you give them space, they will likely move on in their search for an easy meal.
A new package of bills in Wisconsin aims to protect pollinators. With more, here's Civic Media's Joanne Krulotz.
Among the introduced legislation is a proposal to designate June as Pollinator Awareness Month in the state. One would require state agencies and government entities to give preference to native plants. Another would add more regulations for pesticides and insecticides. And one would establish a Protect Pollinators license plate program. The rusty-patched bumblebee would also be named as the state native insect.
It'll be a day and night of overcast skies before we warm up heading into June. In addition to cloud cover, there'll be a chance of scattered showers overnight into Thursday. We'll see temperatures tomorrow in the mid to upper 70s before rising well into the 80s over the weekend. In addition to warmer temperatures, we'll have mostly sunny skies with small chances of scattered showers Friday into Saturday. Highs should top out in the mid 80s through early next week. We'll have more details in our Civic Media forecast. Download the free Civic Media app now at civicmedia.us/app. For $14.90 WLCX, I'm Jimmy Kuska.
A Brewers win over Boston. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball. The Brewers and Red Sox wrapping up their series today in Milwaukee. Last night, Christian Yelich hit a walk-off grand slam in the 10th to lead the Brewers to a 5-1 win over Boston. The inning before, Yelich scored the tying run from third. Manager Pat Murphy.
We've all seen that. I've been here with Yelich as long as I have. We've all seen that base hit out of him, that double, and then his base running to get you to third. That's why he's a great player.
NFL, the Packers OTAs continuing today without Packers defensive back Jair Alexander. A report says the Packers will take him back if he takes a pay cut. Jair's agent says he wants to stay in Green Bay, but not with a restructured deal. In golf, the U.S. Women's Open tees off tomorrow in Wisconsin. Nelly Korda on what it's like to compete at Erin Hills.
It tests every part of your game. It's very demanding. Even if you think you've hit it good, you just exhale when you see it stop.
That's golfer Nelly Korda with Sports. I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. The Memorial Day weekend's top two films, Lilo & Stitch and Mission Impossible, combined at the box office to pull in about 250 million big ones and about 540 million globally, smashing records. The total box office take from all the releases over the weekend came in at 341 million domestically. Take that, COVID pandemic. The Hall smacked down the previous record from Memorial Day, which was set in 2013 with a $314 million take, powered by films like Fast and the Furious 6, Hangover 3, and Star Trek Into Darkness. Lilo & Stitch topped the Memorial Day weekend with a record-setting 4-day take of $183 million. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning came in second with $77.5 million. Rounding out the top five were Final Destination: Bloodlines, Sinners, and Thunderbolts. Overall, the box office is 30% ahead of where it was at this point last year, and the studios have a $4.2 billion prediction for the summer box office alone. Good signs. On the heels of Lilo & Stitch's incredible showing at the box office, it's time for a tip of the cap to Disney CEO Bob Iger, who returned to run the studio in 2022 in the middle of the pandemic. Variety reports that prior to his arrival, the studio was putting out too many films, quantity over quality. Some of the studio hits since Iger's arrival include Inside Out 2, Mufasa the Lion King, Moana 2, and Deadpool and Wolverine. The four films were some of the biggest hits last year. On the way from the House of Mouse this summer are Avatar 3 and Zootopia 2. The Last of Us Season 2 is in the books. Last Sunday's episode pulled in 3.7 million viewers, a 30% drop from the season's premiere. Despite the 30% drop from the season premiere to the finale, the show is still outperforming Season 1 when it comes to overall numbers. HBO has already given the go-ahead for Season 3. There is no release date, but production is scheduled to start in June. Billie Eilish had an outstanding Memorial Day weekend. She took home an award for every category she was nominated in at the American Music Awards Sunday night, thanks to her album, Hit Me Hard and Soft. Eilish was nominated 7 times, including for Artist of the Year, Album of the Year, Favorite Touring Artist, Favorite Female Pop Artist and Favorite Pop Album. She also won for Song of the Year and Favorite Pop Song. Beyoncé brought home 2 awards for Favorite Female Country Artist, and her somehow controversial album, Cowboy Carter, notched her a Favorite Country Album trophy. Post Malone also now has his first country music award after winning Favorite Male Country Artist. Eminem took home 2 awards for Favorite Male Hip-Hop Artist and Favorite Hip-Hop Album for the death of Slim Shady. Gracie Abrams won Best New Artist, and Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars won Best Video Collaboration. Mars also won Favorite Pop Musical Artist of the Year. I was shut out again. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly cloudy with scattered showers or a thunderstorm possible today. Our high in the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. Tonight, it'll be partly cloudy with a low dropping to near 50. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a high in the mid 70s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 53.
That's your WLCX Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lacrosseeagle.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.